Hi guys, welcome back to Manifest with Armene. This is Armene and I'm your love attraction consultant. I'm doing a live again. Alright. I'm just gonna wait for you guys to start joining. I've been doing these late night ones a lot because we work for me. Last time we went over 2 hours, but I'm just gonna do like a quick 30-minute one today. I was writing a blog post on my website and I thought that I'd just come on and chat a little bit about it and see if you guys just have any questions tonight. The blog post was about how everybody is where they are and there's no right or wrong method for applying the knowledge of the law of attraction in your life. So and I keep mentioning this because it seems that just being on in certain groups or forums like gives me stuff to kind of talk to you about because I know what others are saying out there. Otherwise I'm kind of secluded and I don't really get very involved with many platforms, but so it seems that there's an approach of, once hi Aisha, am I saying your name right? Shahzad Ahmed. Let me know if I'm saying that right so I can say it right every time. Okay, cool. Well, okay, awesome. So welcome. Yeah, and so what I was saying was that sometimes there's like kind of hostility about like people saying that the method they use is the right one and everything else is wrong. Like for example, on the Neville Goddard groups, some people think that since they've reached the epitome of truth, which is Neville's very direct teachings, that anything that's outside of that, any method that's doesn't fall into what Neville taught, is extra unnecessary, a waste of time. And I know that's not true. And seeing it that way is very limiting in itself because yes, the whole point is to get into the state of consciousness, and you can do that by using your imagination, but clearly we can struggle with that. That's partly why we're here, why we have YouTube channels and whatever, Facebook groups or anything, I guess coaches in the first place, to kind of guide us through that. Hi Jerome, I'm good, how are you? So yes, so clearly Neville's teachings are very straightforward, but sometimes people find, and it's not about certain people, it's about at certain times, like everybody at certain times can feel like, yeah, it is very straightforward, but maybe getting into the state, as simple as it is and as simple we try to keep it, can be a little difficult. Great. Can be a little daunting. Therefore, it's not going to hurt you and it's not going to be wasteful to make a vision board if you feel like it. Neville didn't talk about vision boards, but who cares? I'm sure he would not have said it's a waste. I'm also sure he would not have said it's necessary, because it's not necessary. However, if you feel like doing a vision board and you're enjoying it, like think about how Neville says to keep your vision in your mind's eye, right? That's where you want to keep your desire, because you want to always have in front of you, like first person present tense. It should always be in your mind's eye. Don't lose sight of it. And what does the vision board do? It helps you keep the things that you enjoy, the things that you are creating in your life. It helps it keep it in front of your eyes. And if you guys haven't made it, and I'm not big on vision boards, so I'm not like promoting it or anything, but if you have done a vision board, you'll realize that after you make one, things on there start to happen. So it's not like vision boards are, here's a bunch of things that haven't happened yet and I'm putting it here because I want to make it I want them to happen. Your vision board is usually most of the time that it's up, it's actually just like a collection of things that have or haven't happened yet. And it's actually really good to mix those things on the same page, because you kind of lose, it kind of lets it lose its identity of true and not true. Like if you put a trip and the trip hasn't happened yet, but you put, like a career goal that has happened yet, that has happened already, it kind of lets you see those things together, and helps you, while you're enjoying knowing that that one thing is done, then the other thing next to it also has a chance to be on that same platform of next to things that are already done. So I mean, it's not like it's useless, vision boards. So if you're gonna put it down, just think about that before, because everybody has their own way and process, and someone who never made vision boards might feel inspired to do one once, and it could help them. It doesn't mean that it's necessary. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't do it, because there's really no such thing. Let's see, I think Jerome has a question. All right, let's see. It says, focusing on my discipline right now. I like the little, is that a hand raised question? I had a few things I want to ask. There was this ladder exercise that Neville did, yes. And he told people to put signs around them that they will not climb it, but they fall asleep doing it. I noticed when you do this exercise, you don't actually have any exuberant emotions such as joy, but climbing, it is the feeling itself. Yes. So you don't have to like feel excitement while you're thinking about, because think about it, when you're climbing a ladder, it's generally not an exciting activity. So there's really no need to involve excitement in there. There's not going to be, and the thing about it is that if you, for some reason, choose to include excitement in your imaginary, first person, present tense, climbing the stairs before you fall asleep at night, then it will end up that you climb the stairs in a way, in a situation that was exciting to you. So it can happen that way. But yes, if you're just trying to prove that, whatever I write doesn't matter, because if I, feel myself climbing the ladder, holding onto the we call those rungs of the ladder, like holding onto the side of it, climbing step by step, feeling yourself rise as you're pushing yourself up. Yes, feeling yourself into an activity will bring you there. But it's kind of a trick activity, I'd say, because Neville says that if you do that while at the same time writing out affirmations all over the place of I will not climb a ladder, I will not climb a ladder, and we know now that that's a negation, and even like in The Secret, it says there is no such thing as not for your consciousness. It's just you're either focusing on this thing or you're not. So what those affirmations that he was saying, if you write it down all day long, or say to yourself all day long, I will not climb a ladder, I will not climb a ladder, your consciousness, there's no concept of not. So what you're actually doing is not only are you falling asleep feeling yourself doing it, you're actually also telling yourself, hey, climbing ladder, climbing ladder, climbing ladder. So that's actually boosting your probability of climbing a ladder. Oh, you checked out the Baroque music? Yeah. And how'd you feel about that? Did you feel like let me know what you thought about the Baroque music, and if you tried your feeling it real with Baroque. Okay, Jubin, am I saying your name right? Jubin? If I'm saying it wrong, let me know, because I don't want to say it over and over again the wrong way. What if your intention and feeling the completed intention contradicts someone else's view that is close to you and part of your journey? What if your intention and feeling the completed intention contradicts someone else's view that is close to you and part of your journey? The way things that work out is that if someone's intention is very different from yours in a particular subject, then you won't find yourself in that same situation together. So I don't know what kind of relationship exactly you're referring to, but if it's a friend, for example, and you were going to do something with them, and your intention and his intention start to be different, then as long as you see it being done and feeling the way, and you feel yourself into it, like you said, then it will manifest in your life, maybe with another person, or that person has to, if it's with the same person you originally intended to do that thing with, to have this experience with, then you don't know exactly what is going to happen along the process. So it's not necessarily like, okay, this person's going to be out of your life and you're going to experience with someone else. Because think about it, if it's your spouse, then yeah, you can have differing intentions on certain topics. Doesn't mean that you're going to split just because of one certain thing. So there are so many different specific situations that could apply to. If you can be a little more specific on that, maybe I can help you, because it's different if it's with a friend, you know, it's something that someone else can come into the picture and complete that experience with you. It would be different if it was a spouse, then we can get into that separately too. Okay, cool. Okay, the vision includes people in your intention. Okay. Okay, so keep your intention very steady. Building a specific future together with spouse and family tends to include. Okay, all the way together. Okay. Just keep your intention steady in your mind and do not be moved by anything else. Because I'm going to say this because sometimes we perceive things this way when they're not. And sometimes even if the facts show it, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's true. So you might feel like someone else's intentions are different than yours in a certain situation. And it could even be that they told you this, but it doesn't necessarily mean that that is what their intention is. So just hold on to yours, feel into it every single night. As I'm thinking for you for this, like I think nighttime, like state akin to sleep, is a really direct way to approach this, because we're talking about like your family life, and when you fall asleep, you want that, you want to feel yourself into that state when you're falling asleep with this family situation that you're talking about, spouse, family, already manifested, and fall asleep knowing that it's done already and let it feel natural to you. It doesn't matter what the other I mean, this sounds weird, but it doesn't matter what the other person says, because keep your intention pure, and there's nothing that will move you if you stay steady to your intention and what you're clothing with your consciousness. So just don't worry about the other person, in the sense of just see good for them, see them happy. Don't feel like, because sometimes we have a hard time imagining this specific thing for us, like relationship specifically, is that you feel like if the other person is telling you things that makes you feel like they don't want to be with you or don't want to continue the relationship with you, a lot of times those things are said out of anger and out of hurt. So I would just stick to your intention, and in your intention see them happy, so you don't feel like, oh, I'm visualizing them being with me, but it's like I'm forcing them. Never feel like you're forcing them, because then you'll manifest in a way where they actually feel forced, or you'll just continue feeling like it's forced even if it manifests. Just know that everything will fall naturally into place. Just stay steady to your vision and don't worry about the details. Okay, I have a lot of questions here. Let's see. Hi, baby girl, baby girls. So you can't use negatives. No, you can't negate anything and let that really sink in, because you know how in The Secret it says the universe doesn't understand not or no. So if you're affirming, like if you're saying I don't want debt, then you have to think I want financial security, or I want not, you don't even say to be debt free. I want to be secure in my finances. I want financial freedom. Just affirmative statements that way. Don't use negations, because all it does, especially when you're used to feeling bad about a certain thing, all it does is make you feel that same way about that thing, because you're actually using the word, and still you haven't moved away from the vibration of it. So like in Neville's way, because that's what it says, the universe is no negation, right? That's what love, that's what the secret says. Neville's interpretation would just be simplified down to your I am. And in your I am, also don't use not, like I am not poor or I'm not single. Like those things are just long ways of going around. There are actual words for those things. So if you don't want to be single, say I'm in a happy relationship. If you don't want to be poor, say I am doing well financially. I am secure. Um, I am feeling good about my finances. I am supported. Okay. Jerome says it is very upbeat, the Baroque. I was wondering how you get so relaxed with it. There are some pieces that are kind of upbeat, but if you keep searching, I don't know how much you listen to, but a lot of it is soothing. But yeah, sometimes every once in a while, if you put a playlist and then something upbeat will come and you're like, well, hey, no, it needs too much attention. Let's see. Baby Girls says, for example, I'm trying to manifest that it's impossible for me to gain weight as my truth, so it was okay to use the word impossible. It's not that it's wrong to use the word impossible. I mean, that aside, yeah, I wouldn't use impossible, but you're also using impossible for me to gain weight, and you're using gain weight, which is the exact opposite of what you want. And I would switch that affirmation to not it's impossible for me to gain weight, but it's easy for me to always stay at my perfect weight. It's easy for me to maintain my weight. My metabolism knows how to regulate my weight. And that's really actually what it is. So that's something I would, I'm like, put it in words that like you would actually use in your head. You don't want to like, you know, use someone else's words if they don't feel right like to you. Like just use it how you would talk to yourself. But I would definitely switch it from it's impossible for me to gain. You know why? Because impossible for me to gain weight. Like what I sense in that is fear, right? Because you're trying to push something away from you and you're trying to push away the weight gain. So as long as you resist something, it's like you're inviting it more back, and you're not gonna be at ease about it. So instead, connect with the opposite, which is that it's easy to be where you want to be with your weight and stay there. Jubin says, good point. Opinions and shared views might be different than deeper needs and intentions. Yeah, definitely. Definitely. I mean, don't even believe what you say that comes out of your mouth sometimes to other people, because we say things like not always from intention. You know that. I mean, it doesn't matter how good of a person you are. Sometimes you'll say things because either you're thinking about, you're going to the carnal, like reasoning mind, because of what other people would advise you. So in your mind, you just take that, opinion of others that just popped up in your mind because others would say this. So you say, okay, maybe this is what it is, and you just blurt it out to somebody else. It doesn't mean that you meant it. It doesn't mean that in that situation it was what you really meant. Hey, Mr. Me. Welcome. Okay, thank you. Good advice. Jubin says, love you, Riz. Thank you. I might need to leave, but it's not because I'm not interested. No problem. Thank you for joining, at least for as little as you could. It's morning here. Well, good morning. Enjoy your day. Jerome says, one of the reasons I mentioned the latter exercise is because anxiety can build when you feel it real. For example, a car, but you don't feel excitement. When it comes, you'd prefer to be excited. I'm questioning whether it matters or not, preferably creating scenes which put a smile on your face or a skip in your step counteract when I'm thinking about it. Let me ask you a question. So when you're thinking about, do you know which car you want exactly? I'll wait until you answer that. Jerome, do you know what car you want exactly? Or is it more like a type of car that you want? Or are you just gonna go for feeling it real and not worrying about the details? Just let me know so I can help continue on that question with the answer. Let's see. Meanwhile, Mr. Me saying ladder didn't work for me. you know, I've never even tried the letter exercise, but I've tried other forms of it, not even realizing I was actually doing it. We do that all day long, and things show up, and we think, huh, that's funny. I was just, you know, thinking about that. And we don't realize sometimes in how much detail we're experiencing things in our imagination. So don't worry about the ladder exercise. It doesn't matter. I would recommend trying that just with something you actually want to manifest, because it'll be more meaningful for you. Anyway, let's see. Jerome says, mine's more relationship based, to be honest, but I'm very sure on what I desire. Okay, so now you're saying that when you're like you're feeling it real and getting into the state, that you're worried about not feeling that excitement, because when it happens, you want that excitement to be there. But let me ask you, when you're thinking about it, not feeling yourself into the state necessarily, but when you're thinking about that topic, does that excite you? Or does it, or do you feel fear more? Or do you, like, just how do you feel when you think about that subject overall? Not when you're like trying to feel it. So it does excite you. That's interesting. So just, I would say persevere, but don't use the perseverance in the sense of like, keep trying to get into the state, keep trying to get into the state, because the more you feel like you're pushing it, then the more that feeling is gonna, you know, jump out of your grasp, because it should feel very natural. So why don't you try, when you're entering the state, start out by just thinking about it, think about the topic, let it, think about it in a way that's exciting to you. It doesn't matter if it's first person present tense or not. From that, so yeah, try this tonight, like, and then let me know how it goes, because I'm sure I'll do another live soon, or send me a message down here. But so try it like as you're going to sleep, or anytime during the day, it doesn't matter. Start thinking about it just as you usually would, and then once you capture that excitement, it doesn't have to be like this crazy excitement. As long as it's exciting, just as you would feel like when it is already part of your life and it's newly a part of your life, then take that feeling and then enter it. So like enter it as if you're entering the scene, and that should be pretty exciting if you're thinking about something that's exciting and then you step into it. Don't have any reservations, like don't worry about it, like just allow yourself to enjoy it. And this is where the brazen impudence comes to play. Just don't worry about like the how, or you know, what if I feel myself into it and it doesn't happen. Just don't worry about any of that, because the whole purpose of that feeling into the state and allowing yourself to get excited about it, and to the point where a smile forms on your face without you even realizing it, the whole point of that is to feel good in that moment. That's it. Don't connect that to, and then am I gonna see results, because that's when things get not fun anymore, and it doesn't even work that way. If you're just doing it for the result, it's not gonna be the same thing. The whole point is just enjoy it, enjoy the moment, but don't force yourself. Just let it happen naturally. Don't even worry that it's not exciting, because when you enter the state and when you actually reach a state of feeling like it's real, then the excitement will naturally bubble up inside of you. Let's see. Baby girl says, so another issue I've been having is I've been manifesting my specific person for almost a year. Then out of curiosity, I asked the tarot card reader to check our energies. She said that he's not thinking about. Well, I'm not surprised, because if you ask a tarot reader to tell you what they see, I mean, I'm guessing that you didn't feel like it's already done, because if you felt like it's already done, you wouldn't be asking someone to read your energy. So the tarot card was just reading in that moment. All the reader's gonna see is that your energies are not aligned. That's it. Let's see. Jerome says, at my current state, I feel like excites me. Perfect. Baby girl says, reaching out at all, so I'm not sure what I'm doing wrong. Well, baby girls, you can't really say you're not sure what you're doing wrong, because that will just perpetuate the same thing over and over again, and you'll keep doing things that are wrong. But there's really nothing wrong to do. The only thing to do is just keep letting yourself enter into the state of it already being done. Like I said, with Jerome's thing, like, you can't actually feel something real and then feel like it's missing from your life. As long as you feel like it's missing from your life, it's just going to keep showing up as evidence that it's showing that it's missing in your life. So, like, what I usually say is, like, don't even name them your specific person, because that sounds like, it sounds like you're trying to, you know, put a spell and you're kind of working on something, but there's nothing to work on. You just assume that you're in the relationship that you want, and you're happy, you know, you're satisfied, you're both feeling good about it, and it's a very natural thing. A lot of times, especially when you've been calling someone your specific person for a long time, and you've just been in that state of trying to attract them back into your life or into your life, just like, it's just, that's the exact opposite of letting it feel natural to you that you're a part of each other's life, like in real life. So that's what you really want to focus on. Just like, act like this person is normal in your life. Jerome says, I'm building full faith in my subconscious and so on. Yeah, and it takes so much less than you think. Just linger in the state of already having it. I'm sure that, you know, the amount of programming you've done in your subconscious mind is significant already. And even though you might not realize that yet because the evidence hasn't shown up yet, but it takes much less than we think. Just linger in it, like, not as like on a mission and I'm going to keep imagining this, but just know it's already done, and then let yourself smile and feel good when you think about it. Jerome says, that's actually really helpful, and I will 100%. Perfect. I've got a smile on my face now. Okay, perfect. So Mr. Me, relationship-based one here too, felt it real, did the visualization, believed, was smiling, genuine, felt good, etc. Persevere for very long and still haven't seen it. But my mood isn't consistent because that's hard. Okay, so your mood will be consistent when the feeling it real part is not contradicted by doubt. And you may or may not notice this, and we all like need to do this regularly, that, like Neville says, where are you staying? Like, you can feel it real, but if throughout the day you may not realize that your thinking and your where you're staying, as in like what state of consciousness you're occupying, could be reverting back to the old you, the old man who doesn't have that yet. So just check yourself, you know, like I say, just check like what you're thinking about, and how you're feeling about that topic when it comes up in your mind, and just make the conscious like shift, like when the topic comes up, if you notice that, like, well, you should, because if it hasn't happened yet, then it is probably happening when you don't realize it, that when the topic's coming up, you don't feel at ease, and like, you don't feel like gratitude about it, of like, yeah, it's a natural thing that easily came into my life. So when you notice that that's not the attitude you have about it, like immediately upon reaction, when you first think of the subject throughout the day, just switch it to that, like that of gratitude and ease and naturalness. Just be persistent, be like, persevere, and not at all in a forceful way, just in a light way, and don't put so much weight on any one thing that you want, because just know that all your desires have equal importance, like, because you are not, it doesn't require more power or energy to make one thing happen in your life as an experience as another thing. It's just that we block it sometimes by thinking this is such a big important thing, you know. So hard not to feel someone you love is missing, especially if watching them move on. Sorry if sounding negative, just hit a wall past couple leaves. No, that's okay. You don't have to apologize. You're being very mature about this. Some people a lot of people are much more negative about it. So Okay, first of all, watching them move on, like that's not part, like don't clothe that with your consciousness, because again, just like I was telling, I think it was Jerome we were talking with about that, like you don't know, you don't necessarily, was it Jerome? I don't know. But you don't know necessarily that, like, because first of all, you're fearing that this person moved on. You're obviously you're fearing it. If you were in a relationship with them and you're not anymore, and you don't want them to be in a relationship with someone else, you're fearing that, of course, the first thing they're going to do, or eventually they're going to go on, move on with somebody else. But when you're in that state, a lot of times you assume they're moving on, even though they haven't. Um, and sometimes that assumption will harden into fact, right? Before you get a chance to revise it. So you have to understand that everything is coming from your state of consciousness. Like that's the only like reality that you need to know. Um, Other than that, you could feel bad about that. You could feel like, oh man, why did I do that? But it doesn't matter, because you don't have to feel bad about it. Because now that you know what aligned you with that in the first place, now you know what to do to get the opposite, which is um, instead of running off that fear of this person moving on and not being there in your presence, just reinforce that feeling of them being in your presence and letting it feel natural, and don't yearn. I can tell you a lot about yearning, but yeah, don't yearn, because it feels romantic. It's like, people write songs and books about this stuff, but like you don't have to yearn for anything, because yearning comes from thinking that you can't have, um, that you can't experience the thing you're desiring. So, once you're ready to move past that yearning of feeling bad that they're not around you, you just you just consciously practice the feeling of them being right next to you, and remind yourself that they're right next to you. They're right next to me. You feel natural about it. Have conversations with them in your mind, and you're gonna feel ridiculous, but you just do it. Okay. All right. So did my manifestation go to a waste along? Would I need to basically start over? I hope that makes sense. Your manifestation of the relationship. Baby girls, let me know. Are you talking about the manifestation of the relationship or the affirmation that you were talking about? Let me know. So Mr. Me says, I really am more conscious of my thoughts and was checking all day. My thoughts on the subject were good, but I thought about it all day, every day. Can't help it. Well, you can help it, but I know what you mean. You feel like you can't help it. Um, just let it be light and be easy about it. Have fun with this process. Like, just let yourself loosen up and have fun with the process. And when you check out on your thoughts, even let that be like a game, because until you're light and easy about the whole process and the subject, you're going to be aligned with things. You're not going to be aligned with it manifesting in a light and fun way. So that would be my recommendation to you, because I'm not in your mind right now, but from what you're saying, you're not doing anything wrong at all. Just persevere and feel light about it. Like, really introduce that lightness, and the lighter you feel about it, actually, you'll be able to focus on other things in your life, because it just kind of opens up the energy, and you don't feel like as obsessed about it. You know what I mean? Mew RC, I hope I'm saying your name right. So the secret would, let's see, they're saying, so the secret would be to allow yourself to feel your desires and to accept them, right? Because we start living from the outside to the inside, and our job is to focus from the inside to the outside. Yeah, pretty much, exactly, because your desire is not something that doesn't exist and then you're trying to bring into existence. Creation is done, right? That's what they say. So if the desire has come to you, then it already exists. it's not your job to like create that from scratch. It already exists. All the ways are there. There are several ways for it to come into your life because there are other things that want it to happen. Like, you know how they say what you want is want, what you looking for is looking for you, what you want wants you. Um, that's really the best way to approach all these things because that's true. And what we're used to doing is just assuming that if we have a desire, it's selfish. Um, we jump to the thing of, oh, if I get this, then, you know, it would be too lucky or it would be too huge of amazing of a thing, you know, when it's actually really important for us to allow our desires to manifest because it allows, along the way, along the process, it allows other energy to flow and other people to manifest what they want, even if we don't even know. Mr. Me says, thanks, Harmony. You're welcome. I hope it helped. Yes, about the SP. So no, I mean, you haven't wasted any time because if you have the intention and you're trying to figure it out, even though you, like, I don't recommend thinking about it so much with your reasoning mind as just feeling your way into it. So don't worry about anything. And that's kind of where you're at right now. And that's okay because we're all there sometimes. So about certain things. So just don't think about it too much and don't think about what process you need to do or how to word things. Just don't worry about that too much. Just feel yourself into it. That's it. Just when you're falling asleep at night, allow yourself to feel like it's already done. And don't even like don't worry about how do I do that, because all you do is just lay down and like open yourself up to feeling like it's already done, and it's like that you have that person with you and that it's natural and it feels really good and it's real and it's natural. And if you just open yourself up to feeling that way without worrying, then trust me, that feeling will come to you, and then you'll know that it'll take over, like the emotion will take over you, and you'll know that it's happened. Jerome says, in my opinion, no positive manifestation goes to waste. Yep, I feel everything inches you closer to your power. Yeah, because definitely you're reaching for it, and you are they said don't put too much effort in, right? And that's true, you don't need that much effort, but all mental effort is, you know, goes towards what you're intending in the first place. If we're unclear, yes, things can be unclear, and it won't be as quickly, and we'll be confused and frustrated, but nothing goes to waste. So baby girl's just saying, did the tarot reader just read the energy only at that specific time I asked her then? She can only read the energy from that time that you asked her. And that time that you asked her, the energy is still, it's of that moment and of what you were vibrating like in that recent time. So it's really not even important, because just think about now, like right now, because that's not even relevant. Like I wouldn't even give it a second thought. Just focus on like right now, like what it feels like right now. And don't like like some people might say, imagine that you go to a tarot reader and they tell you that, oh, he's thinking about you, but like what is the point of that really? Like, is that what you want to manifest? No, just linger in the feeling of being in the relationship that you want to be in, and feel really good and easy about it, and know that it's mutual in your mind, and then that is exactly what will come to you, and in the perfect way. Like there's no way you can even imagine how that would fall into place, but it will. That's funny. Jerome said the same. When you go to your tarot reader, do you hope they will tell you positive things? Exactly. See, so that's like, okay, they could say positive things, right? But that's not even the ultimate goal. Like, is that the ultimate goal for your tarot reader, to tell you something that you want to hear, or do you actually want that to manifest? Okay, let's see. welcome. Yeah, whole point of manifesting is to change that, so don't worry. Yeah, I wouldn't go to a tarot reader. So yeah, I think I kind of expect the tarot reader to say something negative. Yeah, because if you weren't at least partly afraid the tarot reader would say something negative, then then you wouldn't have gone in the first place. Like if you felt confident, then trust me, it would not even cross your mind to say, hey, let me just go see what the tarot reader says. No, it doesn't really happen that way. In a sense, I manifest that reading. Yep. Thanks so much for your live Q&A. You're welcome. Shahzad says, tell them more about Sabbath. Okay, let's talk about the Sabbath. So that's pretty much what we're talking about. It is the Sabbath. Okay, so what Neville teaches that the Sabbath actually means is the seventh day when God rested, right? Because he created first, however many days of the week, 6 days, and then the Sabbath was for rest. And actually, all that means is that it takes a certain amount of time for you to transmute the things, to mentally transmute your desires into, like, to enter that state, to actually establish it as your new reality, and to live there, to take it on as your new identity. And then those days of work, of creation, are followed by the Sabbath. And the Sabbath is the last day, and that's the last day that you rest. The day that you're resting, the reason it's called the day of rest is because you already feel like it's done in your mind. Like you've lingered in that state for long enough that it feels natural to you now, and you don't feel like you need to do anything else. Now, there are a lot of people who I've heard them ask, I used to visualize, I used to do this, I used to do that, but now I feel like I'm not even excited about doing it anymore. And they think it's a problem. But the actual reason that's happened is because it's already natural to you, so you don't feel the need to do anything anymore. So what happens is that day of Sabbath, that day of rest, when you feel like your work is done, is really important, because that means that it is already done and it's about to show up. So that's something to celebrate for sure. Jerome says, I know because I have a tarot reader, they are actually good when you have faith in them and you're unbothered by what they say because you believe them fully, you create. Yeah. As in if they talk about like a cat coming into your life and you believe that fully. Yeah. Thank you, Armenia, and everyone, for giving me hope and new perspectives. Yeah, no, I mean, if you desire it, then it's there for you, so. Okay. I don't know how to say your name. Rameshwar Nishad. Okay. If I'm manifesting an SP and get interested in another person, should I stick to earlier SP or new one? Because I invested 1 year in that person, but I don't feel like getting her. Okay, there is no investment lost, and just the fact that you went through that process of trying to manifest a relationship with the first person brought that second person into your life. So in my opinion, it would be, if there's such thing as waste, it would be more of a waste to continue trying to attract the first person when that process actually probably led the second person to coming into your life, because that's more aligned with what you actually want. So I hope that makes sense. And that's a very like natural way to feel, that like maybe I put so much effort and work into manifesting the relationship with the first person, so I don't want to waste that work. And the reason that that's natural for us to feel is because that's how we kind of see like projects in our lives. We think we put so much time towards something, but actually, if in all things that are important in your life, if you could just adopt the approach of, if something else comes along, if I know I'm aligned with what I want and I'm staying in the state of feeling the way I want to feel, if something else comes along, never go back to the other thing only because you feel like you put work towards that, because whatever you will put work towards is coming into your life now. Jerome says the second they talk about something major, that's when you're own power is of most importance. I'm off now enjoy your night, Army. Thanks, Jerome. I'm actually gonna leave in a few moments too. Let's see. Chaitanya Patil says you look like Scarlett Johansson. Yeah. Maybe, I don't know. A little bit. All right, guys, thank you for joining. It's been 45 minutes. I said I would do this for 30 minutes, but oh, hi Infinity. I'm just leaving, but hopefully I'll catch you next time. So yeah, I said I'd do 30 minutes and it's been 45. So thank you for joining, even if it was just say hi, and I will catch you guys probably in a few days. If you have any other questions that I didn't get to, Infinity, if you have any questions, then feel free to like leave them in the comments below, and I'll, yeah, if you by any chance you have a question going through your mind, let me know in the comments below and I'll answer them today or tomorrow. Okay, thank you guys, have a wonderful night or day, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.